In this video, we'll be looking at how to share files between two computers using a crossover cable. Once the two machines are connected and configured, you can share files, share internet connections, and even play games locally. Crossover cables can be purchased online, but you can also make your own. I'll be using a Cat6 cable for this project. You will need two connectors and two guides for the Cat6 cable. You will also need a crimper and a cable tester to make the cable. We will start with the standard end. You will need to cut a length off the insulator off the cable that is about 1 to 2 inches long. You must be careful to avoid cutting the wires because it's the worst thing to find out that you cut the wires on accident when you're done with the cable. Next, you'll need to separate and untwist the exposed wires, leaving an exposed plastic separator and string. Go ahead and cut this separator and string as I do because it'll be in the way later on. Once the wires are separated, you organize them by color as shown on the left side of the diagram on screen. Sorry, colorblind people, you're out of luck. Next, you will be putting the wires into a small plastic guide. One of the guide has an end with a taper sticking out. This end will be facing you with the taper facing up. Now insert the wires in the order as the diagram shows, from left to right, or right from left if you prefer. Once you have the guide on the wires, you slide it down the wires until there's only about 1 inch of wires revealed. Then take the crimpers and cut the excess wire off as close as you can get to the guide without ruining the guide. Now take the connector and make sure the pins are facing up. Take the end of the wire with the guide on it and insert it into the connector. Once you see the wires are seated at the end of the connector, look over your wires one more time to check for errors. Now take the crimper and put the end in the crimper and clamp it down. Hint: if you have to force the cable into the crimper, you're putting it in wrong. The only thing left to do is test the cable.
Okay, connect both computers with your newly made crossover cable. After they're linked, you'll need to have them connect to the same work group. To do this, you'll need to open up the properties of the computer. Go to your Start menu and right-click on the computer and select Properties. You'll need to scroll down and click on the Change PC Name. You will join a workgroup here by changing the name. For this project, I'll be joining workgroup ABC. However, you can use any name or one given specifically for your project. Once you have applied a new workgroup name, you'll need to reboot. Go ahead and restart your machine and move to the other PC. When you're on your other machine, repeat the same process to change the workgroup name to whatever you chose earlier. After both machines have successfully rebooted into the workgroup ABC, you should begin sharing files. Alright, so now that you have both your machines in the same workgroup, it's time to configure the network. Go down to your toolbar and right-click on your Network tool and open the Network Sharing Center. Once the center has opened, click on the Change Adapter settings. You should see an unidentified network. Right-click on LAN Connections and go to Properties. For the purpose of this video, you will not need IPv6 active, so go ahead and uncheck that. Click on IPv4 and go to Properties. We need to make those machines have static IP addresses to see each other. Make the IP address 192.168.0.1 and the subnet mask 255.255.255.0. Leave the rest blank. This will be the machine that shares a file, so while you're here, navigate to the C drive and create a shared folder. Make a new folder in C and name it Share. This is going to be the shared folder. Right-click on the share and hover on Share With and select specific people. We're going to share with everybody in the network and give them read-only access. To make sure that your computers see each other on the network, it's a safe bet to add a text file. To obtain the address of your shared folder, which you will need to access the folder on other machines, open the properties of the folder and click on the Sharing tab. The address will be under Network Path, which is usually the PC's name, followed by a slash and the file path. Now we have to set up our client machine. Again, open the Network Sharing Center and change the adapter settings. Find the properties of the local area connection and disable IPv6. Open the properties of IPv4 and add 192.168.0.2 as the IP and 255.255.255.0 for the submask. Close out of your networking options. Now you can access your shared folder. Open File Explorer and on the address bar, input your network path. Now you should be able to see your file and open it. However, you can't edit anything inside of the document.
Common problems may occur if your crossover cable is broken or misaligned. Both machines are not on the same case-sensitive workgroup. IP address or subnet mask in IPv4 are not correct. The network path is inputted incorrectly.